Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Dre, Recovery One Drone. I want to do a little impromptu show tonight because there's been some important information that I want to put out there to folks who have not been able to catch up on some of the news, since we have a lot of things going on in our world today, and some things can just fall by the wayside if you're not careful. Hopefully my partner is going to join us today, but we'll find out if he pops in or not, and we're going to continue on. Hey, Jody, we're going to say hello to everyone who's in the chat so far. Let me scroll up here. We got Waypoint New England, Northside Hawk Dom. We got East Coast Thrills. All right. Got a couple other folks sitting in as we used to say, in the cut, lurking. Feel free to come in the chat. We're going to kind of keep this kind of low key and easy going tonight. But we're going to talk about some issues that we in the drone community saw this coming down the pipe years ago. And the main topic tonight is going to be about what the GOA or GAO, as it actually should have been, it's supposed to be government office of accounting, or government accounting office, which way you want to say it. Accountability office is what the actual term is, and and go off what the report of what they put out. But like as always, I am sponsored by Air Data, so if you're keen on keeping track of your flights or information about your drones for maintenance purposes or anything else, Air Data is the way to go. So here they go. All right. I hope everyone got that. If not, I'm going to play it again because sometimes I don't get everything right. Nope, didn't get it. So we got to play it again because I didn't have the mic on.
Last call
Got to give
is
my
sponsored
sponsors
by
due.
Air Data, world's most trusted flight data platform. Use promo code Recovery 1 Drone 20 for 20% discount on your subscription.
Okay, got that squared away. Hate to have dead air, but we got to do what we need to do so I can stay on the air. Once again, welcome everyone. As I say, Air Data is the way to go. If you're interested in keeping track of your data when your flights, or even just for the maintenance aspect of it, of keeping track of your batteries, what's going on with them, this thing will give you reminders of checking a regular maintenance checkup of your props, the airframe, or anything else to do with your operations. Once again, my name is Dre, Recovery One Drones. I'd like to welcome everyone who is here and those who are on their way here. As I was saying before, in the last couple of days, something significant has came out of our own federal government agency, the Office of Government Accountability Office, our Government of Accountability, whatever you want to pronounce it, put out a report that they done, or say they put out. Yes, they do. Waypoint Air Data has the weather. So if you want to use them for your flight, pre-flight, or whatever, you can get whatever you need out of Air Data. But moving on, the GOA was tasked to be doing a report on the Department of Interior. The Department of Interior is the federal government agency that probably uses as many drones as any other department and several other departments combined. They've been using drones since 2006. So as you want to say, early adopters, the Department of Interior is about as early adopters as any other government agency has been as far as small UAS drones. So they have been in the game for a while, but like any other government agency, the Department of Interior has to follow the rules and wishes of the elected officials, which falls, Congress and those in whatever administration may be in the White House. Good evening, Rich. Good to see you out there, partner. So over the years, like I said before, the Department of Interior has been very heavily into drones, and they use those drones to help manage and also use in case of emergencies to help govern the 500 million acres of federal land. Okay. And it says here in the letter, which I will put up on here on the screen. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I will enhance that a little bit so we all can see. Let me get it right here so everybody can see it. There's my zoom out. That's not it. There we go. You blow this up a little bit so everybody can see, because I'm an old guy and I can't see. So you see here, like I said before, since 2006, the Department of Interior has used uncrewed aircraft systems, UAS, also called drones, and operations on the 500 million acres of federal lands it manages. These operations are often in remote areas and conducted under hazardous conditions, such as over steep terrain or during wildland fires. For example, Interior has used drones to manage or prevent wildfires, such as by collecting information on fires, locations, and potential to spread. Using drones for a variety of missions can improve safety and reduce costs, among other advantages over alternative methods. Additionally, other entities, including the Department of Commerce, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, has partnered with Interior to use drones on Interior managed lands. Okay, so that goes to show you how vast the Department of Interior uses drones in their daily operations of doing certain things within I would say the lower 48s, especially in Alaska. So I can't just say the lower 48s. So drones have been a real big tool for the Department of Interior. Now we scroll down here and we talk about since fiscal year 2020, the Interior has made various revisions to its policies on drone purchases and use amid concerns about potential security risks of foreign-made drones. So look at that date, 2020. And like I said, these were the grumblings back then, and they have been adhering to the grumblings of Congress, other security administrations, Homeland Security, and other entities within the government who have these concerns about the use of foreign-made drones. Now, we all know DJI is king of the hill, and they have been directly targeted of recent proposals who come through the House of Representatives to want to ban the use of these drones. And just to put this out there, right now, the focus is basically going towards federal agencies where they are no longer allowed to purchase or even use these drones in any daily activities. Now, there have been other, as they say, waivers, to use a term, for in certain situations, these drones are still being used because they just have enough of them to use. There's not enough time, and I'm going to get to that down towards the end of this article. What I highlight in yellow here is that we are asked to review these policies and their effects. This report examines the effects on drone fleets and operations of Interior's foremost active drone users, the Bureau of Land Management, BLM, Fish and Wildlife Services, FWS, National Park Services, NPS, and United States Geological Survey, as well as NOAA and non-federal partners. Okay? So like I said, again, this is just explaining the far reaches of the Department of Interior has and what they've been doing with other agencies in which they have supplied drones to. All right. Now we're going to go through some key takeaways. They talk about here from January 2020 through October 2022, Interior prohibited the procurement and non-emergency use of drone manufacturers by companies domiciled in countries designated as adversary nations. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. So, like I say, way back in 2020, they were prohibited from buying more drones. Way back in 2020, which now would be 4 years ago. All right, and that has gone all the way up to 2022. They could not purchase any more drones from countries that are classified as adversaries, and that's why if you read in the First Responders Act and even the CCP Act, you see the language in there when it talks about certain companies, but it also leaves an open-end description in both of those legislation pieces that any additional countries deemed to fall under a adversary or non-partner in the United States can be added to the list at any given time. So right now, China is one of the big names on that list. It's probably one of the only names on that list, other than probably Russia and a few other, North Korea to speak of. So the list is small, as we call a short list of countries, but this is how it's affecting our federal agencies already. Okay, so these things are already in motion. They're already trying to adhere to the wishes of our elected officials. Okay, and we'll go down a little further here, and they talk about the majority of the selected bureaus, drones are reaching the end of their usable lives. According to Interior and Bureau officials, however, increased costs and other challenges with procuring compliant drones have made it difficult for bureaus to replace their drones, according to the Interior and Bureau officials. And this is what I want to talk to you guys about mainly, is that what we have said for years is that the current level of technology, the current level of availability from American manufacturers, hey TJ, is that there's just not enough on the shelves or in storage to supply even our federal agencies. What has happened, and I'm going to probably read this a little later on, this document that I have here, and what has happened is the Department of Interior has tried to make purchases for these compliant drones, or you might say blue listed drones, I think is the more according term that is out there, blue listed. And they just simply can't deliver. Okay, they just have not. I have another document here that talks about where they have put in orders for drones and they're still waiting for the completion of those orders, where they've only gotten half of what they order, or they had to wait almost 6 months or longer to start receiving the order of what they place. And then the last point is that I say the average cost, I think if I scroll down here a little further, let me search it out. I think I highlighted it. Is that it right there? Limitations on partners' use. Okay, we'll go there, and we'll get to that. And I'll get to the cost factor a little later. But I said these are the issues that we're already facing. Things that we have said in the drone community months ago, years ago. We have said this when we heard about these things coming down the pipe, that there's just no replacement that is be able to supplant or replace the availability, replace the capabilities of what DJI, being the king of the hill, and other Chinese-made drones that are out there. Like I say, American companies have just simply drugged their feet and can't compete. That's what the real issue is. Okay? That's what the real issue. Right here, I got to highlight limitations on partners' use. Interior's January 2020 order directed Interior bureaus to, and in their contracts, grants, and other cooperative agreements with other entities prohibit them from operating non-compliant drones or department-managed lands. This prohibition applied to partners, organizations, including other federal agencies. And this is what they talk about other agencies that fall under the Department of Interior, but also when it talks about grants and things of that nature. So basically what they've already done is they talk about they put a hold on federal funds being able to be used to purchase these drones that come from these countries on within these bills. And this goes back to 2020 through 2022. So this already been taking place, and this is why it's starting to creep into state agencies, police departments, and even local police and fire departments, to where a lot of times where these departments are able to purchase their gear is unable to do it because the funds are just not there. And I always try to remind people that there's only certain things that your local tax dollars are able to pay for when it comes for your first responders. Okay. And I know just like in my community where I live at, it's like there are several others. This is why you have canine programs. You might have a fundraiser, coffee with a cop or lunch, whatever, to raise money for the canine program and all this kind of stuff, because regular funding can't be used for the canine programs. I don't know what the exact language or exact reason why. I just know it's a funding situation to do with the dogs and everything else. And that's why a lot of departments have to have these type of fundraiser activities. And this will what will happen more than likely for local departments, agencies will have to do some type of alternative fundraising to be able to purchase or maintain their fleet, because the money will not be coming down the pipe, which it comes from the federal government to the state, to counties, to local entities. Okay. So let's, I think I have one more area highlighted here. Yes. Here's the part we talk about cost. Okay. The cost factor. And let me put that on the screen for you. Okay, this is what challenges has the Interior faced with identifying procurement compliant drones. Increased cost of compliant drones. The compliant drones the department purchased across all bureaus in fiscal years 2022 and 2023 cost significantly more than the commercial models it previously purchased. According to Interior documents and officials, from fiscal years 2017 through 2020, the average cost per drone was approximately $2,600. Those were the DJI drones, mostly they purchased during that time period. Adjusted to 2023 dollars, according to our analysis of Interior procurement data, the average cost per drone increased to over $14,000 in fiscal year 2022. And over $15,000 in fiscal year 2023. And basically what they're saying is that for them to buy the type of drones that are compliant with the requests of our elected officials and on the blue list, that is the difference from average of $2,600 to paying for over $14,000 to $15,000 per drone. Okay, and this is what we're talking about earlier about delays and getting the replacements. So delays in receiving drones. Some compliant drones Interior identified for procurement, as well as some foreign-made drones allowed under the American Security Drone Act for the full range of wildfire operations, are not readily available and could take as long as 6 months to receive after ordering. According to Interior and Bureau officials, as of April 2024, Interior had ordered 98 drones in fiscal year 2024, but only 46 have been delivered. Some bureaus noted program impacts from these delays. For example, National Park Service, NPS, officials told us that the service ordered new drones for fire management purposes in March of this year, but they are not expected to arrive until October, which is where we're at now. They ordered these in March, not scheduled to arrive in October. Likely not in time to be used for the 2024 wildfire season. There you go. All right, now we talk about the tech part. And this is why when I look at a lot of things that come out from different companies, especially American companies, and I hate to say I'm a little more critical because of American companies. It's just the fact that everybody wants us to jump on the American bandwagon, which, patriotic, I get that part and everything else, but I still want the best tool for the job. That's what's key when you talk about first responder situations and doing other things that are out there. You want the best tool for the job, and especially when that tool, the best tool for the job, is 2 to 3 times cheaper. So let's go on to what they say here in the report. Technological capability issues with compliant drones. These are the drones on the blue list. It has been difficult to find compliant drones with sufficient technological capabilities to fully meet mission needs, according to Interior and some Bureau officials. For example, BLM, Bureau of Land Management officials, noted that compliant drones options do not have the capability to carry some specialized sensors, and USGS officials told us they have not found a sufficient replacement for the non-compliant drones they previously used to categorize natural hazards. And this is why we said we talk about, we think this thermal drones, and we think about some of the, like the DJI Mavic 3, something like that. But we even talk about some of those older drones like the old DJI 600 heavy lift drone that has been used in natural gas, because you can put what we call the old sniffer on those type of drones that can detect natural methane gases in the gas field, gas and oil industry, and also the other different type of payloads that need to be used. Now, right now, I think there's only about 1, maybe 2 American drone manufacturers that have a drone that has the ability to use LiDAR. We got a little bit more of that going around, and LiDAR is becoming more of the go-to technology to do a lot of land management. And it is already starting to get its way into regular mapping. LiDAR gets a lot of things done, especially when you talk about areas that are heavily vegetated to where you actually can't see the floor ground. And that's all done in the pre-level stages of doing any type of what we call grading activities out there. And then you got areas of land management where you're not building anything, you're just trying to manage the forest. So you're not going to be knocking down any trees or clearing the brush, but you still need to know what it looks like from the ground up. So that's what's very important when you talk about technological capabilities. Like I said, like everyone I know, especially all the people here in the chat, those of us who live here in the United States, we're not anti-American. We want American companies to be top of the line, top tier drones, but you have to be competitive at every aspect. It's one thing to have the latest and greatest technology and capabilities, but if I'm paying 4 times more for it, I have to give pause. So it's a matter of not just the technical thing, but it's also the economic side of it. So when you can't mesh or mash that together, then you have gaps. Because like we always say, we pay tax and everything else. We want our tax dollars to be spent efficiently and everything else to get the most bang for the buck. But we also got to be mindful that it is wasteful for us to go out and buy this because it's American made. So these manufacturers are going to have to say, come with something across the table that's going to bring it to close that gap, I should say. Okay. So let's go on to the next issue. Reliability issues with compliant drones. Until recently, interior early testing and evaluation of compliant drones revealed significant reliability issues. Interior and Bureau officials told us, for example, officials cited instances in which tests of compliant models revealed propeller issues that caused drones to abruptly crash. However, Interior and some Bureau officials said that as of early 2024, they have been able to identify more reliable compliant models that have not had these issues. So there you go again. Build a better mousetrap, so to speak. As we always say, the old saying is, you got to build a better mousetrap. I mean, DJI is not perfect. Some of their drones have issues, and they're pretty responsive in correcting their issues. Most of their issues are in software, which is always a issue across the board, and why we're having some of these things going on in our elected officials. That the software is always the crutch. Is where's the software going, who has access to the software, and where's the data being sent to. So what the problem is here is that the American companies are having mechanical issues. I haven't heard in recent years of prop failures coming from DJI. Okay, I mean, I remember back in the day, I would say the early Phantoms, Phantom 2, Phantom 3s, you may have prop issues. Even a few, very few, with the Phantom 4 series, you may have some prop issues, but it's not a common thing. And so, like I said, these guys are coming to the market at a fairly, I would say, more technical, advanced time when they talk about drones, UASs, and having issues with prop failures is something that shouldn't even be discussed. You know, when you start using third-party props on your drones, then you talk about, is it compatible with the drone? You know, as we say, the OEM specs. So those are the issues you may come up with. But when your regular drone itself is failing for prop and other issues, that's another reason we have to put pause on that. They should come out the door ready to go, ready to fly. You know, it's a trust factor. You know, when we put our drones in the air, we put our whole trust and confidence that the drone will perform as stated. Okay, as we've been told, as we have read. I say that jokingly because 99.9% of us don't read none of the manuals and stuff. We go on YouTube to figure out how to fly it and whatever else goes on with drones. But like I say, we put all our trust in that the drone will perform, the drone will do what it's supposed to do. And I say one of those rare occasions when it doesn't, that's when you get a little skittish. You know, like I said, I've had, drones do some weird things, and it shakes your confidence. And it's very troubling when you're spending quite a bit more money on a drone. If I'm spending $20,000 or more on a drone, I should be able to have a little more confidence that it's going to perform as it should. That's the whole thing. So that's what I'm saying. We as an American industry and everything else, we need to up our game. Just like the automotive industry had to do back in the 80s and coming into the 90s, is that they simply had to up their game to compete with foreign-made vehicles. Even to this day, trucks are, I think the truck industry and SUV industry saved American automotive companies, period. Because those two are the two most popular versions of American automotive that are sold. You know, the old days of the sedan and the station wagon are long gone. You know, you don't even see them advertising that anymore, hardly. And now you hear nothing but truck commercials and SUV commercials, and basically everything else has gone by the wayside. Yeah, Jim Droney, you think at $20,000 somebody needs to read the manual, and but you know, like I know, they'll unbox it, take it outside, charge a battery, take it outside, and take it off, and then worry about it later. You know, that's what usually happens. And I always, and tell you the truth, everybody's always asked me about my M30T, and I say it sits here in this case, and I say it's like my like the fire alarm, break glass in case of emergency. When you spend that kind of money on a drone, you just don't go out and be all willy nilly with it. That drone is used for a purpose, and that's when it gets used for that purpose. Because nothing worse than you want to kick your own self in the rear end because you're out goofing around with a $20,000 drone. And then when a job comes up, you don't have it because you had to send it in to get it fixed. So that's what I tell folks, when you buy these smaller drones, that's what you go out and have fun with. You know, the mini drones, and now you have the Neo and other drones. Yeah, you go out and have fun with that. You know, $199, enjoy yourself. You know, but when you're spending big bucks and you have a lot on the line with some of these more larger and more expensive drones, you have a different mindset. Oh yeah, Jim, I read the manual when I M30. I usually gloss through the manuals, and that's why when I get on here, I can tell you if the manuals are worth anything or if they're not, because I do go through the manuals quite a bit. And it's unfortunately that I know in the early days I remember getting the manuals for my Mavic Air, the original Mavic Air and the original Mavic Pro. You got about a phone book size, several manuals and stuff, in about 6 different languages. And you gloss through it, and you glean what you could and what you could understand, because the English part of it was always seemed like the smallest, and it seemed like the Chinese and the French parts and German parts were the thickest. So yeah, you got what you could, and like I say, it was not for the amount of reviewers out there, for the most part, showing us stuff and showing us the mistakes they made or things that they thought they knew or whatever. That's where the majority of us go get our lessons from. And I mean, let's be upfront about it. You know, I had to say some pretty direct language on the old farts Facebook page today because I felt someone posted something that was deliberately just to stir the pot. And I expressed my attitude towards that, you know, why do you come on social media when you know by the language and verbiage that you use that the individual had already made his mind up what they were going to do, but they come on to these social media sites to get validation. But they put it out as a question, the what if scenarios and stuff. I said, you know what? And that's why I'm a big advocate here for those who fly in the United States. Take the trust test. You take the trust test, even if you're just recreational, I would say 80 to 90% of your questions about where you can fly, how you can fly, when you can fly, will all be answered within the trust test. It takes no more than 25, 30 minutes of your time. So I'm saying that, you know, if people just take the time to do things, like I say, it will slow down the drama wheel on a lot of our social media sites, and so to speak, because usually you get about, I think this one post had about close to almost 70 responses, variety of them. And you could tell by people's responses where they were at. You know, those who were Part 107s were giving FAA qualified answers to this individual scenario. And then the others were more about, don't worry about it. If you don't get paid, it don't count. And I said, no, that's not what the rules say. But like I said, if you take the trust test here in the United States, that will answer 80 to 90% of your questions. So that's why I say when I see stuff like that, a lot of times I just truly believe that these individuals are just trying to stir the pot to get people riled up, because eventually people start making comments and making rebuttals about other people's comments, and then the original post is not even a factor anymore. It's about, well, who's right and who's wrong and what you believe and what you don't believe. And I always tell folks, if we can't agree upon what the facts are, there's nothing to debate. So I told them in the end of my comment, I simply said we should refer individuals who ask questions like this to the FAA website, tell them to take the trust test, and if they can't find an answer there, just take them to the website. Let them search through the FAA website for their answer. So that's just my tidbit on that. And I think the post was taken down after I made that comment. And I'm glad of that, because I couldn't find it anymore, which I'm thankful. I don't know if it was Bob or one of his other monitors of the site took care of that. But sometimes I think some people just want to stir the pot, get the drama wheel rolling, and just sit back and watch the fiasco take place and stuff. So, like I say, Jim, that's what I tell people all the time. And, when you fly, it's always about the intent. I very rarely fly recreational, because I do so much 107 work. I do Part 107 work when I do projects for the city I work for. I do 107 work for my own company that I have. So between those two elements right there, I very rarely go out and just throw a drone up just for the heck of it. So, that's just me. That's why I always joke, the Johnny Drone Flyer and Ray Kelly and a couple of those guys, they always tease me about, well, go out and fly for fun, Dre. I said, like I say, all this right here is an investment for me to run a company. And like I said, I was lucky enough to incorporate it into my regular 9-to-5 job for the last 7 years. And, there it is. Like I say, for me, the things I do for fun, I'm a big home theater buff. I go out, I used to play a lot of golf. I don't hardly play anymore now. Those are my hobbies to have fun. Those are my hobbies for my, I know some people fly for mental health. I play golf for mental health. I watch movies for my mental health and stuff. My drone to me, or my drones plural for me, is an economic engine. And that's how I view them as, and that's how I treat them as. And from there. Like it tonight, I thought I was going to have Adrian come on and surprise everybody. I don't know if what happened or whatever. He's supposed to pop in. I didn't see him pop in anywhere, so I don't know. I'm going to put this this thing up here, this ticker up here, so you can go look at this document itself from the government office. I don't know how I screwed this up. Guess I should have read it. The actual office of the department, General Accountability Office. That ticker across the top of the page takes you right to this PDF that I'm reading off of. So I always tell people, when I do my shows and everything else, I'm not just talking out of my head. I like to be able to reference official documentation. So I don't want anybody to sit here and say, well, Dre said this and Dre said that. Dre just brought you the information. This is where you can find it for yourself. So you can read, you can read the entire document for yourself. And that way you can walk away with the facts. And like I said, we have to agree upon the facts of the matter. So if there is a debate about who, what, when, and where, at least we know what source to use. You know, that's what important is we got to have a source of facts that we can all refer to have a debate. You can't debate on opinions and feelings. That is something you can't convince somebody of how they feel. Okay, that is something I have learned a long time ago over the years, that you just can't debate people's feelings and their own beliefs. You got to have a set of facts. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them right now. I know Jim's the only one putting into the chat, and so I know there's got to be somebody else. There's only about 5 people in here now, but that's okay, because this will hopefully get some replay and get some traction down the road from everybody. I came on tonight after Art usually finishes. I know Friday nights are kind of, I would say, no man's land now, since a few folks no longer do live streams. But I felt this was important enough to bring out now instead of waiting till the end of the month. I know I saw a little bit of Greg from Pilot Institute. He talked about it a little bit this morning. If you did not catch his stream, he talked about it there for a quick minute or so. But I wanted to just go down a little bit in depth, a little more, and let you guys catch some of the, or at least glean some of the things I got out of it, and let you know that when we talk about contacting your representatives, which I'll have that going across here now, the Advocacy Alliance, Drone Advocacy Alliance, starts coming across the screen. This is a document right here you can use as a reference when you talk to your congressmen or your senators, and that you use this document as a reference. Like I say, facts matter. Okay, that's the big thing. Facts matter. This comes out of our own federal government, and use this as a reference. So when you write to your senators, write to your congressman, and say, hey, your own office of accountability states this right here. This is the problem right here. And you cannot sit here and just simply want to ban something if you don't have something to replace. We are already hurting right now of this year, 2024, to where several of our federal agencies are going without, which means we have more higher risk of out of control wildfires. We don't have complete control of our land management and other things that drones have been doing for over a decade. Yeah, Waypoint. Like I said, we got to keep the pressure on. We got to keep the pressure on. Anybody didn't catch what he said, what do we have now? Just a standalone ban for DJI drone that hasn't passed anything now. Like I said, they keep throwing it against the wall. Hopefully something's going to stick. And that's why I did last Sunday, I talked about, how much longer can we dodge these bullets? And that's my whole point. I know at some point there is going to be some legislation that will come down that will restrict or heavily limit our ability, not just at the federal level, but even at the consumer level, to be able to purchase Chinese made or even other companies or the other countries drones. It's just a matter of, like I say, it's just a matter of getting the right votes at the right time. And just like I said, votes matter and elections matter. And as of right now, we have no real allies on either side of the aisle. The First Responder Act and the CCP Act, by themselves or even combined, have came out of the House with bipartisan support. So this is not a pointed finger at the left, not a pointed finger at the right. It's coming from both sides. So like I said, the Senate is the only thing that has been slow rolling a lot of this. And I really believe because they feel the pressure from a lot of the state agencies, first responders, and other groups of that nature, and us, sending these emails, making these phone calls, confronting these people at events. Hey, what are you voting on? What are you thinking about? And I always tell people a lot of times, because of the work I do, and they ask me, well, how'd you get your foot in the door? I said, because I speak the same language as the site superintendent. I speak the same language as the engineers and developers. This document out of this GAO office speaks that same language as elected officials understand. Because this office is bipartisan. It's not a left-leaning office. It's not a right-leaning office. These folks cut it down the middle and just give you the facts. Simple as that. It just gives you the facts. And when they talk about them not being able to secure enough drones from these blue-listed compliant drone manufacturers, our elected officials need to understand, okay, you want to ban this and this thing ends today or ends tomorrow. What do we do? There has to be an answer. You just can't just say, stop here and we just go forward for nothing. Okay? So this is what I'm saying. When you write to your senators and so forth, now you have a link to a document out of the federal government that states what is going on, that state actually what is happening to our own federal agencies, to our own federal different departments, and what is happening to our abilities to keep our national parks safe, how we're able to assist when we have wildfires, how we're able to assist when we have storm systems come in, hurricanes and tornadoes, because that's what NOAA uses them for, And just like geological surveys, I said, these are people who are out there doing mapping on a federal level. So if these things start falling by the wayside, which means it comes down to more catastrophes because of the slow response or our ability not to have a response to be able to aid those in need. Right now, those across the Carolinas, the southeast side of Georgia, northern parts of Florida, everything are hammered. Whole towns are wiped off the map. I'm watching the news today where they show, what a neighborhood looked like prior to the storm, and now it's just gone. It's just completely gone. And that's why I tell people, I think it was Al Cicerone who was trying to gather a couple people together, and I think he already reached out to FEMA. FEMA told me they were good to go, but I told him reach out to the local authorities. And I had a debate with a guy about how the protocol and operations go. I said, FEMA is not going to be there the day after. They might be there the next week, 2 weeks, whatever the case may be. And additionally, FEMA can't be everywhere for everybody. Local, just like I talked about the canine situation, some departments don't have a canine dog. They got to call another department. Or a lot of times you have an individual who has purchased a dog of their own who's been trained, and they call that guy in to use the canine dog for sniffing drugs, bombs, whatever, because the department can't afford it. There are small towns, agencies that have emergency operations centers that need as close to real-time data as possible so they know how to stage whatever equipment they have to conduct rescue operations, or when they meet up with higher level individuals like the National Guard or with FEMA, and what areas need to be addressed first. Like I say, all this doesn't happen at the federal level all at once. It usually goes from the local agencies to a county agency to the state agency to the federal agency. That's how the protocol usually works. And that's why I say each little small town, city, whatever, has its own emergency operations program manual. Big old problem. Mine is about a 3-inch binder. What mine is, it sits on my desk in my office, and it says FEMA EOP on it. And it tells us all the things we need to do, all the different agencies that need to come together. And you'll be surprised, not all those agencies are government agencies. They talk about bringing together nonprofits, other agencies within the community to help, to gather information and to help all the different, I should say the higher ups, to where to direct the efforts where most needed the most. Okay. Like I say, first thing we got to do is maybe set up Red Cross. Red Cross steps in, comes in. Where does Red Cross go? Red Cross, you got local Red Cross, and you got a higher level Red Cross, and you got up to the federal level. Okay? All this doesn't happen in one day. So anything you can do for your local community, just talk to the right people, see if they need your services. And, like I said, just tell them, hey, I can go out there and be your front eyes, let you know if that road even exists anymore. Let me go over and check this community to see if people need help. You're generating real-time data for the emergency response. So when other people come in with the more appropriate equipment to carry out those rescues, they know exactly where they need to go. All right, it is almost 7 o'clock. I have ran my mouth long enough. I appreciate those who came in. This is Dre, Recovery One Drones. As I always say, hang on, enjoy the ride, and please subscribe. I will see you folks later. Bye-bye.